All right, buddy, we're live. Welcome in, live edition, That SEC podcast, brought to you by Twisted Tea and My Bookie. I'm your host, Michael Bratton. I go by SEC Mike on Twitter. And right there's cousin Shane, who goes by Big Orange Vols on Twitter. What's up, buddy? I hope people can hear us.
Hope I can hear that, because it's time to talk some football, baby.
Ooh. Yeah. I mean, week 2.
I just butchered that intro. Again, this live thing, it's coming around.
Right.
But I would have just chugged this beer, got another one, and started over. We can't really do that. So,
Okay.
But yeah, I'm ready, brother. We got some really good games this weekend.
We're getting a word from Danny. Appreciate you. They can hear us. So, Shane's dropping shit. Hope that wasn't important there. But, all right, brother. So, SEC football. So many great games. And let's start this one how we ended the last one.
Okay.
How worried are you? Just for anybody that missed it. Florida embarrassed us.
Yeah.
LSU, South Carolina. SEC's got a lot to prove this weekend, don't you think?
Yeah. And a couple of games, not just one. You know, everybody's wanting to talk about Texas and Alabama. We're going to get to that. But, you know, you got Miami out there lurking. You got Arizona State out there lurking.
Yep.
You know, Tulane. I'm not ruling that out.
Yeah.
That's another one that could.
Tulane, Ole Miss. That's
Wake Forest.
There's only 2 games that are ranked matchup this week. Texas, Alabama, Ole Miss, Tulane. Those are the only 2 top 25 showdowns this week.
So, I mean, naturally, I am a little nervous just because we started out so rough. You know, going back last year, we went undefeated except for LSU. You know, they dropped the ball there. But we could make a point that if there was another 5 minutes on the clock, LSU would have won that game.
Yeah.
Well, you can't make that argument now with Florida and the LSU. I think LSU was hoping there was 5 minutes less in that game so they could have got off the field quicker. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's where we're at. But again, snap and clear, week 1 is done. You know, week 2 is here, and this is a good opportunity for the SEC to make that statement that we thought they were going to make week 1.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to pull one out for the down weekend because we're up this weekend, baby. SEC. Oh, my God, spilling beer on the computer. All right. Before we get into the pick show, Shane, we got a lot of games to pick here.
Yeah.
As always, like we do on Friday. Well, it's Thursday, but Friday show. You know what I mean.
Potatoes, you know.
Prize Picks selections. We're sponsored by Prize Picks. Head on over to prizepicks.com. Put in that promo code SEC. They're willing to match your initial deposit 100% up to $100 for all new users. And why we love Prize Picks, Shane? College football, fantasy, daily fantasy sports.
Yeah.
They're the only one I know that does daily fantasy. So I'm going to give you a couple of my Prize Picks and I know you're going to like these.
And we're terrible at doing my bookie locks, but Mike can nail the individuals.
Right.
So let's hear it. Let's see what you got this week.
All right, you're going to love this one.
I'll be the judge of that.
Connor Wigman.
All right.
Heisman frontrunner.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a bit much.
People are ready. So, you know, other than Aggie fans, everyone is ready for Texas A&M to suck again. You know?
Yeah. All right. Connor Wigman, outstanding quarterback, Heisman frontrunner at Miami.
Yeah.
Over 1.5 passing touchdowns. He had 5 last week. I mean, I thought this was a typo.
Yeah.
Is this first quarter? Is this first half? No, it's for the game, Shane. Over 1.5 passing touchdowns for Connor Wigman.
Sign me up. Sign me up. You're saying he can't get 2 touchdowns? Wait, is that passing only?
Just passing.
Okay.
But still, I feel pretty. It's not like he's Johnny Manziel going to run it, you know?
I like that bet.
Yeah. Well, I knew you would. All right, how about now? This is a sneaky one. Now, we're going to talk a lot of Texas, Alabama, but I think the rest of the SEC is like, we're going to talk about that one last.
Yeah.
Because that's what we do. But we're going to hit on it real quick here with the Prize Picks. Jalen Milroe, so impressed with his debut.
Yeah.
Over 210.5 passing yards. So if he gets 211 passing against Texas, which has one hell of a defensive front that completely, it was Rice, but they completely shut down Rice.
Yeah.
If Alabama wins this game, Jalen Milroe's got to have over 211 passing yards, I think.
That's a tough one, man.
Yeah.
Because I do think Jalen has a lot of yards in this game, but I think there's going to be more with his legs. And, you know, I'm not. We'll get to that game here in a minute, but MTSU, it feels like we had opportunities to sit back there and play a little bit. You know, we may not have that. How does Jalen respond when the pressure's on? Does he, you know, because you see this with some mobile quarterbacks, they hesitate. If their first read's not there, they're just, hey, I'm going to tuck and go. Is that what we're going to have? So I'm a little hesitant on that bet, Mike.
Okay. Well, I got one more. It sounds like you're going to be hesitant on that one, too. Quinn Ewers, Texas quarterback.
Yeah.
This is the first under of the season, Shane. Under 250.5 passing yards. So under 251, essentially, is what I'm saying for Quinn Ewers. In Tuscaloosa. Again, we'll get in more of this game, but I think under for Quinn Ewers, under 251.5 passing yards.
Yeah, that's a. I could see that. I think you just really playing like how do you think the game's going to go? Like if you feel like Texas is going to be down, that's a great bet to go over.
Right.
You know, but if you feel like this is going to be a tight ball game or even one that Texas wins, then yeah, I think the under is the answer here because, you know, even though Alabama's a little banged up in the secondary, it's still one of the strongest parts of that defense. So I would expect that they're going to try to get that running game going. So yeah, I like that bet. I just don't think there's going to be as many yards as people think in this ball game.
How about this comment from Ken? Shane, he's an Arkansas guy.
Mm-hmm.
Who do I hate more, Alabama or Texas? It's a tie.
I love it.
Yeah, and Miami's giving away free tickets this weekend. Yeah, great home field they got down there.
Friend of the show, Anwar, was on yesterday.
Yep.
Talking a little Texas football, and you know my favorite reaction was from the Arkansas community. You left that one out, Anwar, didn't you? You know, and I cleaned it up. But yes, I thought that was not only an awesome interview, but Arkansas, that was a great game. I'll never forget it.
Yeah. All right, Shane. So we got a bunch of matchups to get into.
Yeah.
Usually what we do, we go by in order of the kickoffs. But there are a few cupcakes. We don't have point spreads. We used to not even pick points, but we've been picking points. So let's pick points here. But let's go over the couple cupcakes before we get into the meat of the SEC schedule. How's that sound?
That sounds great, man.
So starting with Eastern Kentucky at Kentucky. This is 3 Eastern, 2 Central on ESPN and SEC Network Plus.
Yeah.
It's going to be a warm one, Shane. 86 degrees. Kentucky coming off a big win in the opener. Who do you like? Kentucky, EKU. What? And obviously we know who you like, but maybe what do you'll be keying in on for the Wildcats and a score prediction from you?
Yeah, I think the one thing I'm going to look forward to is the progression from week 1 to week 2. A lot of folks outside of Lexington probably didn't watch that game last week, but Leary was not what we wanted or expected. Does a little film study, does a little bit more practice with the receivers here come out with a better result? I think so. I think that's what we got to dial in a little bit is make sure we get this chemistry down, make sure that this offense keeps doing what it's been doing up front. I think that offensive line took a big step this year.
Yeah.
Don't take a step back. Don't butcher it. Let's let Ray cook a little bit back there. Hopefully you won't have him in the entire game, but it's just I want to see offense dominate. I know the defense will dominate. I just want to see it from the offense side of the ball because, again, that's what we expected week 1 with Ball State. So this is not going to be a game. What time is this thing?
3 Eastern, 2 Central.
3, okay. So, yeah, go ahead and get your dinner reservations made. You may even set it for the fourth quarter there, Mike, because this thing's going to get out of hand quick. I've got Kentucky winning 56, Eastern Kentucky 14.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't think it's close at all. And, you know, one of the things I noticed with a lot of teams last week was a slow start. I don't think we see that this week. I think there's going to be a few teams that I've got my mind on that I think are going to come out of the gate just ripping. And I hope that's Kentucky here. I hope we're looking up and we're 5 minutes into the game and it's 14-0, you know?
Yeah. We got Tim over here. Shane says, I love to see Shane wearing that Ole Miss blue. Is he tipping his hand over there? We'll find out. But and Ken, appreciate you, Ken. Ken gave us $5. He says, here's Shane beer money. So we'll be drinking this weekend thanks to you, Ken. But yeah, so one thing, and I apologize if you missed it. I'm trying to read the comments too. But one thing I didn't hear you listen or say, but again, you may have said it, getting Devin Leary going. A little up and down in the opener.
Yeah.
Got to see him a little bit sharper before we get into the SEC play. But yeah, defense was dominant. Special teams was great. There's my dog. He's fired up about it. Hey.
Live, baby. Live action right here. We got construction going on next door at the house, and apparently they just got out of here. So,
Yep.
man, it doesn't get any more raw than this, that SEC podcast.
But what I was saying, Shane, build on momentum. There was a lot to like. Kentucky won by 30 points. They didn't even play a complete game.
Yeah.
Same thing I said about Tennessee. They were a little up and down, some penalties, some false starts. We get that cleaned up. We should beat the hell out of a team like Eastern Kentucky. And this is a pick your score.
Yeah.
I mean, they can win by 100 if they want, but we got to let the freshmen play. We got to let the backups play. So give me Kentucky 55, Eastern Kentucky 10, and it could be a shutout if they really wanted it
And
to be.
be aggressive. Be aggressive.
Yeah.
Let's don't go the Kirby route and just, let's run all over them. And I nothing against Georgia, but sometimes that's what he does. He just doesn't run away with it. You can against Eastern Kentucky, and I think the fans want to see that. We got to see little flashes of it last week. Another thing that I am looking forward to is not looking forward to, but got my eye on is the field. We had a lot of injuries last week up there, and they got new turf. So I'm just kind of curious how that plays week 2.
Kuiper Belted, Shane says, Mike's dog is a UK fan. Mark Miller says, hell, now my dog's barking. And Ken says, is that dog from Georgia? Come on now.
Come on. We didn't even talk about the dogs yet. Maybe that's why I brought up the Bulldogs and Kirby there. So
yeah. All right.
Subliminal.
Another cupcake, Shane. Austin Peay at number 9, Tennessee. Your balls, 5 o'clock Eastern, 4 Central on ESPN and SEC Network Plus. Going to be another warm one, 88 degrees. Austin Peay last week lost to SIU. I don't even know what school that is. 49-23 last week. So what will you be looking for from the Vols, and what's your score prediction?
Curious if Joe Milton went to the top row there at Neyland, could he throw a football to Austin Peay? These are the questions we need to know. So, brother, this obviously not going to be a ball game, but again, similar to Kentucky, slow start a little bit, Joe Milton-wise. I'd love to see them stretch the field.
Yeah.
Keaton had that big drop, and I hate to just – it's one drop, but that's a drop you can't afford to have in games like Alabama and Georgia. You've got – we've got to clean up the mistakes there. And mistakes, I think, is the key, too. Some dumb penalties that we've got to clean up. And I know it's just – again, I know it's Austin Peay. But I do want to see this offense, similar to what I said with Kentucky, just come out guns a-blazing. Just put the points up. I would love for this thing to be over at half and get another half of Nico there just so we can have a little more quarterback controversy going on. But also, I want to see the hot hands. Last week, we did this with the running backs. How does that play? Did they still start out with the same sequence? Or is this one of those that we go hot hands and whoever hits it, gets to play the rest of the game?
Mm-hmm. I want to see Nico.
I know.
I've said it because Danny's saying,
know.
don't you start chanting all that. But
and here I've got my Joe Milton cup, and I vowed to always drink out of Joe Milton cup as long as we're undefeated.
Yeah.
But I will throw it out as soon as we lose a game, and it better not be against Austin Peay.
Well, one guy they need to get going is Dante Thornton.
Yeah.
Who our buddy Jesse Simonton predicts will have more receiving touchdowns than any player in the entire SEC.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Now, we didn't see that week 1, but it was week 1. Who cares?
Yeah.
They were running dominant. Defense was outstanding. They got to get special teams cleaned up. The punter.
Yeah.
That was a issue there. They cannot survive that in SEC play.
Right.
Mistakes like that. Jump on them early. Again, this is not an opponent you're going to learn much about yourself. No. But we can see consistency from Joe Milton in his passing, from some of these emerging weapons that he's got to work with, from the running game and the defense that looked great. So I'm going Tennessee.
Oh, did I give a score?
No, you didn't.
Oh.
But I'm going to go first then.
Okay.
63. Austin Peay 13. So 50-point win here.
Yeah, we're not far off. I've got Tennessee 59, Austin Peay 10.
Oh.
So
You got a little bit more faith in the defense than me. I said 13. All right, how about
Watch
this?
him score first to be 7-0 and everybody panic in Knoxville, myself included.
Number 6, Furman.
Yeah.
FCS number 6, apparently. At South Carolina. 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central, ESPN, SEC Network Plus. Furman beat Tennessee Tech 45-10 last week. Shane Beamer hyping up these. They're called like Paladines or Pelicans or Penguins or something.
Don't matter. Yeah.
What do you want to see from the Gamecocks here?
Well, I want to see a better game up front. I mean, I think that's the easy answer. Anybody that watched South Carolina play last week, they know that the offensive line was thrashed. I mean, if there was I don't think there was a unit last week in the SEC that did worse than South Carolina's. And against Furman, there's no reason we should have any pressure back there on Rattler. This should be a pick your play kind of day, and I know Coach came out and told us how great Furman is and all the accolades. I guess that's what you're supposed to do, but kiss ass on the podium, kick ass on the field. That's what we got to have here with South Carolina, and put some people back at rest. To let them know that, okay, we're going to be okay. Maybe North Carolina was a lot better than we thought, because I will say this, Drake was he flipped the bill for me, man.
Yeah.
I mean, he will be a top 1, 2, 3 quarterback picked in the draft. So, but I think that Spencer has an opportunity to be right there with him if he can bounce back in this game. So, they say Juice is going to be here, and even if he's not, this should not be a ball game. But I will say this, and I don't mean to be pessimistic, but I'm afraid of a little bit of a hangover here. I'm not saying they're looking ahead or looking behind, but I don't know. I don't have the warm fuzzies that this is going to just be an ass thrashing like it should be. So I think Furman hangs in there a little bit, but I have South Carolina winning 45. Furman 21.
Well, top commenter once again. He's the king of the peep right now. Is Danny Shane? He says, "Wait, did you just call Furman a cupcake?" Beamer's having nightmares about them. So I thought that was pretty good. Michael Ward's got South Carolina outright losing.
Oh,
Nima says hot dog Shane needs to stick to 3-step drops or Rattler going to get killed. Yeah, I mean, for this one, Shane, I want to see the running game get going because that was missing.
Yeah,
and that's a quarterback's best friend when his offensive line's struggling. Against Furman, I don't give a damn if they're number 1 in the FCS. You should be able to push them around on the line of scrimmage. We got to put this team away quickly because this is a team, if Beamer's right, this is a team that can linger. And there's already so much bad juju, and we have seen South Carolina in the past let these stupid teams hang around a little bit, make it more competitive than it should be.
Yeah.
So I am a little concerned about that. I want to see the Gamecocks come out here and not ask Spencer Rattler to win him the game.
Right.
If Spencer has to win him a game against Furman, my God, I feel sorry for him coming to Georgia in Athens next week. So give me South Carolina, but not by as much as you. 35 for the Gamecocks, 20 for Furman. So 15-point win. That's solid.
Yeah.
But I think it'll be a little bit lower scoring.
Who's that game they had early last year? I'm terrible at remembering.
I mean, there was the Georgia State one.
Yeah.
There was the South Carolina State one.
Yeah, South Carolina State, I believe, is the
These
it's
stupid
just,
teams.
These shouldn't linger, and I don't want this to be a sequel to last year. We don't need to figure it out 6-7 games into this thing. South Carolina's got to have it figured out now.
Right.
And statistically, like I said, Rattler had a hell of a game last week, but he cannot win every game for you. There's going to have to be some people stand up, and mainly on that offensive front, man, and defensive front, getting pressure. There's, you want to talk about a game changers, living in the backfield. So let's get some heat on the quarterback there.
If Furman wins, we have to start calling Shane Beamer Joey Chestnut, the hot dog. That's according to Nema. So I thought that was pretty good.
Jeez Louise.
All right, how about McNeese?
I hear Shane and hot dogs. I mean, I've been in those conversations before.
I'm trying to figure out, are they mocking you or are they doing him?
Yeah, I think it's been a while since I had hot dogs. Just kidding. I had some the other day.
All right. McNeese at Florida, Shane. 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central, ESPN, SEC Network Plus. 88 degrees. It's going to be muggy down there. Gators really, really need to get a big win here and kind of soothe the issues from the opener. What will you be looking for from the Gators, and what's your score prediction?
Well, for starters, I would like to keep Mertz passing attempts under 20.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I really do think that Billy comes out here and has a field day. I don't even know if that's an option for Prize Picks, but I would put on every running back for the Florida Gators here because they're going to get a lot of love here. And sometimes you see that with these types of games, a little overreaction or overcorrection, if you will. So you've got to get ETN and company going, man, or you're going to have a long slate of games in the SEC. So this one's got to be a bounce back game, but I'm still a little worried. I've just, Utah hurt me, and it wasn't that they should have beat Utah or anything like that. It was they made a lot of stupid mistakes along the way, and can they correct that in 1 week? I don't know. Maybe. I hope so. And I'm not saying McNeese State is going to be any type of competition, but sometimes you can be your own competition and going 3 and out when you shouldn't and doing stupid shit. So, no offense, Gators. I got you winning, but I don't got you just destroying them. 35, McNeese 20.
Oh,
I would. Goodness. And I could see this as a game that kind of lingers around for a little bit early, and then all of a sudden, Florida's depth kicks in. That's kind of how I see it playing out.
Shane.
They hurt me, man.
I know.
The Gator fan.
I think by the end of the season, we might be looking back and saying maybe Utah's really damn good. Back-to-back Pac champs. Yeah. Thursday night, it was the only game on. Everybody watching. I mean, it was ugly. I'm not making excuses.
Yeah. They went to 15 airports. They were 10,000 feet in the air. I mean, there's all kinds of excuses.
So this is one where they got to get back.
Yeah.
And they've got to show, particularly on the line of scrimmage, that last week was a fluke against a very physical Utah team that had a lot to prove. And the coach right after the game came out and said, well, we wanted them to know we play football out here too. I mean, that was personal to Utah. I really did feel it. So establish the run. And yeah, it's so silly to say this, Shade, but they allowed a 70-yard touchdown on the opening play.
Yeah.
But after that, they were pretty good. I mean, that play counted too. But I think Florida's defense is much better than it was last year.
Right.
Albeit that 70-yard touchdown didn't show it. But I think they established that once again. They create havoc. Florida runs crazy. Give me Florida 52, McNeese 3. I mean, I think this is an ass because they got to take out all this negativity on someone. They take it out on McNeese, I think.
Well, here just a little nugget. Florida has not won a game since November 12th. The fan base just needs a dub.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They just not just any W. I think they need just a barn burner here, and then that way you can start building a little bit more confidence in what Billy's trying to create down there.
Mm-hmm. Going into that Tennessee game. Uh-oh. All right, one more cupcake, Shane. Grambling at number 14 LSU, 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central, ESPN, SEC Network Plus. Gonna be a hot one. 95 degrees. LSU, do they bounce back? Thoughts on the game and a score prediction? LSU hosting Grambling.
Yeah, I think so, Mike. And I would hate to be Grambling this week because unlike some of these other SEC teams that lost, LSU has the pieces to put up 100 points on a team like Grambling. And I'm not saying that's what Kelly's going to do, but he is the best way to kind of overlook, and it's going to take a while to overlook that beating that Florida State gave you, is to come out here and put together a few handful of games to say, okay, maybe week 1 was a fluke.
Yeah.
So I think that's what we see here. This is not going to be a ball game at all. I don't know what you're wanting to see so much here as maybe just pressure. I'm going to have my eye on Perkins since we talked about him this week. You know, where's he going to be at? Are they going to have they changed anything schematically going into week 2? I don't believe they need to show too much against Grambling, but again, coming off that tough loss, the best way to repair that bridge is to put 60 points on there. So that's what I think happens here. LSU 63, Grambling 6.
Someone said in the comments, Shane, Grambling beat Hampton, and they said, by God, isn't that a hotel? I was like, I never heard of that either, but it is what it is.
I stayed at a Hampton once.
Yeah, I think we all have. Wait, we got to get Jaden Daniels going. And I would tell him, don't even run in this football game. There's no need to risk it. He was their leading rusher against Florida State by, I think he had to be, because they weren't running the ball. They weren't getting a push. He was running for his life at times. So I would tell him, do not run. Get that chemistry going with the receivers. It was lacking in that Florida State game. It's a minority, but it's a vocal minority. Are already calling, let's get Garrett Nussmeier in there. I mean, that anytime LSU struggles, people are going to say, get Garrett in there. Get Garrett in there. He's a better player.
Yeah.
He's got to show to them that he can get it again against this opponent. You're not going to prove much, but you have to show that you got arm talent in this football game. The defense, that's the real key, I think.
Yeah.
They just got destroyed by Florida State. They quit is what I saw in the fourth quarter. They got manhandled. Now it's time to do the manhandling, kind of like Florida. Get your frustration out on Grambling. Give me LSU 45, Grambling 6. So pretty wide margin here.
Yeah. So who needs it more, the offense or the defense? I think you kind of tipped your hat there, but you think the defense is the one that needs the most improvement from week 1?
Yeah, and they say they're going to put Perkins back on the edge.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why the hell they weren't doing that. I mean,
why didn't they do it at half, He
could have 10 sacks in this game. You know what?
Yeah. Let's let them eat, man.
Yeah. All right, Shane, we're getting ready to get to our picks here against the spread. But before we do that, let's let the audience know again. Head on over to mybookie.ag today. Put in that promo code, that SEC, THATSEC. They'll give you an instant 50% deposit match all the way up to $1,000. You have $1,500 in your account today to fade our picks, win big this weekend. All the games, college, NFL, all the professional sports over at MyBookie, and they make the withdrawal process smooth as can be. Head on over to mybookie.ag. This is the #1 way people can help the podcast grow, stay independent. Head on over to mybookie.ag today. And don't forget that promo code THATSEC to get 50% initial deposit bonus immediately. Shane, we're also brought to you by Game Time Sidekicks. We love our Game Time Sidekicks, don't we? Head on over to Game Time Sidekicks. Put in that promo code at checkout, SEC. They'll give you 20% off your entire order, Shane. And this is the hot. I mean, we got 6 or 7 of these Game Times. I don't even use any other cup, but the Game Time, you don't need it. Keeps your beverages cool, keeps them warm, whatever temperature the drink is. The Game Time, and they're quality stuff, Shane. They got all SEC teams represented, all college teams represented over at GameTimeSidekicks.com. And don't forget that promo code SEC for 20% off your entire order. All right, Shane.
Everybody just wants to fast forward to my bookie lock, huh? 0-4 Shane. Who did he get? The Grim Reaper. Whoever gives me $100, I won't pick your team. So.
Oh yeah, we forgot to say that. We are willing to be bribed if you want us not to lock your team. Right here, Super Chat. Throw us some money here. Vanderbilt, Shane, at Wake Forest. Big game.
Yeah.
For Vanderbilt, for bowl eligibility. They really want to go to the postseason. I feel like this is a must-win. Wake Forest, 10-point favorite. The over-under, 57.5 points, according to MyBookie. This is an early one. Don't get caught watching Game Day, watching SEC Nation. 11 Eastern, 10 Central on ACC Network. ACC, they're backwards over there.
11.
I don't understand it. But Wake beat Elon. I do know that, brother.
Yeah.
Do they beat Vandy? Who stays undefeated, Vandy or Wake Forest?
Geez, is this the first? I don't ever remember 11 o'clock game ever being played.
It must be some
It's a shame.
ACC thing.
Wouldn't you hate to be the team that has to get pushed to 11? Like, to play Wake Forest here. There's a dad joke. I'm going to go, brother. This one here, obviously last year we had high expectations for Vandy to beat Wake Forest. But I think that team was a lot better last year than it is this year. It is very, very feasible to see a win for Vandy. You got to remember, last 5 games, if you go back to last year, they've only lost one, and it was to Tennessee. They beat Florida, they beat Kentucky. They don't want to remember it for that. But again, if Vanderbilt figures it out week 3 and, a couple stupid mistakes along the way, here's a team that's actually got some tread under the tire. If they come out, they may beat Wake Forest, and I think they can. I really do. It's going to take Swan playing the game of his life, but I think it's time to see that.
Yeah.
He fits the bill. They got the receivers, they got the weapons. He just needs some time back there, and if the offensive line can provide that, I got Vanderbilt pulling off the upset here. Morristown Honda dealership. Score of the day. I've got Vandy 28, Wake Forest 27.
Oh, Morristown Honda, huh?
Oh yeah, been a while since I've done one of them. I felt good.
Well, brother, so many funny comments here.
What is it? 10? Is it 10 points?
10-point spread. Yes, sir.
Jeez, that's a lot of points, man.
So CT says nerd battle. I thought that was pretty funny. Vandy and Wake Forest here. But yeah, this is a big one, Shane. I can't understate that for Vanderbilt. This is a must win.
When shit hits the fan, we go to places like Vanderbilt, Wake Forest to save our lives.
I know. We're sitting here mocking them.
Yeah, I know. Let's give them a little respect.
But Shane,
yeah,
I don't know. I'm not feeling too good about this one. Now, there's 2 ways to look at it. Vanderbilt has not played well, and yet they're 2-0. So it's what I was telling you the other day. If they can put it all together, if they can put a complete game together, they can beat the hell out of Wake Forest. Yeah. I don't care where this game's played. Tiny stadium, not a great home field advantage or anything. Wake Forest beat them pretty bad last year, but the quarterback's gone. Many key players from that team are gone. So there's hope. There's hope for Vanderbilt, Shane. But Wake Forest averaging 329 passing yards a game, that's the biggest weakness on Vandy's defense, brother, is the pass defense, even against the likes of Hawaii and Alabama, A&M. So I hate to do it, brother. Maybe I'll be disappointed, but give me Wake Forest 33, Vanderbilt 24. So I like Vandy and the points, but I like Wake Forest to win the game.
11 o'clock. Still can't get over that.
It's too early, Yeah, it's too early for football.
Do you think somebody messed up and didn't correct it? Like they were doing Nashville time, and then everybody's like, "Oh shit, that's 11 Eastern," because they're at Wake, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Enjoy those facilities, guys.
All right, how about this one, Shane? Ball State just got hammered by Kentucky at Georgia. Number 1 Georgia. Georgia's favored by 42 points. The over-under is 52, so it's almost all Georgia points, according to that. Noon Eastern, 11 Central on SEC Network. It's going to be 82 degrees. That's cool. We're starting to get fall-y, but not quite. And like I said, Ball State lost by 30 to Kentucky last week. So who do you like in the ball game?
Still have a standing bet here with the Tremors that I'll buzz it all if Ball State loses, or wins.
Are we going to have to do Ball State every week?
Well, I think this is it. I think they move on, and they're probably going to be happy about that because they've faced 2 tough opponents. And
Ken says Shane knows Bald State. That was a good one.
And I was again back to this game. I don't know what you're really wanting to get out of this. there may be some silver lining, and maybe you just want to see Beck improve, or
Right.
play calling.
That's my main thing.
I think there was some mistakes being made up front. The defense, just relentless pressure. I don't feel like we got to see that last week with this ain't the Georgia defense that I was wanting to see week 1. So do we see it week 2? I think we do. I think they're going to be very aggressive and hungry. But anyway, 42 points, that's a lot of points, Mike. And it's one of the scariest bets because I could see Ball State maybe doing something at the end and kind of sneaking back into this thing. Mm-hmm. And Georgia not really running away with it because that's kind of Kirby's, that's what he likes to do. So Georgia, I've got winning 49, Ball State 3. So even after all that, I still got with the points. But I'm not happy about it. That's not a lock by no means.
I always say take the points, Shane, particularly early in the season.
Yeah.
This is a ton of points. 42. I mean, I never in my life have I taken 42 in a spread, Shane. But this is Kirby and them dogs coming after, again, disappointing is probably not the right word, but underwhelming performance.
Yeah.
I think them dogs are going to be locked in now, kick some ass. And, yeah, I mean, the only question to me is how many touchdowns Brock Bowers get. Yeah. We already saw one rushing, I mean, this is another one where he could pick your score type game. So, Carson Beck, you hit on it. Let's see how he looks a little bit sharper. But, again, hell, even if he's like 20 or 23 for 300 yards, people are going to say, oh, it's just Ball State. They lost to Kentucky. I mean, we're not going to learn a ton, but I just want to see him be more consistent, hit the open receivers, make the plays that are there. Plays are going to be there for him all day. So that's kind of what I'll be looking for. Lockdown defense. Our score is almost identical. 48 Georgia, Ball State 3. So I like Georgia in the points too.
It's funny. It's like there's nothing Georgia can win in this game. You know what I'm saying? Like they could win the game, but nobody's going to be talking about that next week.
Right.
But if they barely win or they do like they did week 1 and just kind of sluggish and slow out of the gate, they're going to say there's some problems down there in Athens,
Right.
You put that all to rest by coming out here and just I want to look at the drive chart, man, and I want to see 5 in a row, touchdown. That's what we should see in this game. There shouldn't be any 3 and outs like we saw early last week.
Right. I mean, I'll already tell you the talking point, Shane. Next week, South Carolina at Georgia, they're just going to be like, well, this is the game we find something out about Georgia. I don't care if they win by 90.
Yeah.
People are going to say that.
Exactly.
All right, how about this one, Shane? I teased it. You're wearing your Ole Miss blue just for this one. Mm-hmm. Only the second top 25 showdown, not in the SEC, the entire country. Number 20 Ole Miss, favored by 7.5 on the road at number 24 Tulane. The over-under, 66.5 points, 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central, ESPN2. It's a hot one. It's going to be 94 degrees out there, Shane.
Yeah.
And Tulane beat South Alabama 37-17 last week. So who do you like in this one? This is going to be an underrated matchup, I think.
It really will. And I think it will be a fun game. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. You like action, you're going to love this one. It's also in a cool environment. I haven't got to see a Tulane atmosphere in a long, long time,
Right.
Old SEC program. A lot of people forget they used to be here, but I don't think that's going to be the storyline. Storyline here is Ole Miss legit? You talked about Georgia trying to figure out if they're, what we have in the Bulldogs when they play South Carolina. Well, we're going to figure out pretty quick in Ole Miss. Was week 1 a fugazi? Is that how they say it? A figment of our imagination. Did we do like kind of what we did last year and just gave Ole Miss the benefit of the doubt early in the season because they had a soft schedule? Mm-hmm. Well, you don't really have that week 2. Tulane is a team that can beat you at the top 25 program.
Right.
And that's what worries me about this game, Mike, because when you say this to just a layman, they'll say, well, Ole Miss is going to beat the shit out of them.
Yeah.
Well, are they? I mean, when Vegas puts you as a one score advantage, that gives me pause. That makes me wonder, are we really going to have a hell of a game here?
And to your point, Shane, sorry to interrupt you, but because you had no clue what I'm doing over here. So I'll let you know. I'm throwing graphics up on the screen. Tulane, This is on the graphic I got on the screen right now. Number 2 passing efficiency in the entire country.
Jeez.
Out of 130. Their quarterback, Michael Pratt, Florida tried to get him. They had a deal worked out and everything. He's supposed to be Florida's quarterback right now. And Lane Kiffin said they got a Heisman contender. I wouldn't go that far. Yeah. But number 2 passing efficiency in the country.
14 to 15 last week.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, 294 yards and 4 touchdowns. What a stat line.
Right. I mean, he's great. So this could be a really high-scoring game.
Could be. And I think it will be a high-scoring game.
Mm-hmm.
I just think Ole Miss is going to have the last few of them. So I don't like the spread. This isn't my favorite bet, but I do have Ole Miss coming out at the. I think it's going to be close. That's how I feel like this one. I feel like we're going to be at half, and it may be a one score. You know, they may even be down. Wouldn't surprise me if Ole Miss is down in the first half. But I think Lane Kiffin and company, Jackson Dart especially, I'm a believer. You know, say what you want. We talked about how efficient Tulane's quarterback is. Jackson Dart looked pretty damn good last week too, and some of these receivers stepping up. Judkins didn't do a lot week 1. I expect a little bit more from him this game in the receiving and rushing. I think he's going to remind everybody why he's a Heisman contender here, and they're going to run away with it at the end. So give me Ole Miss 42, Tulane 31.
Ooh, I like that one.
Yeah, you like that? A lot of points.
A lot of points, Shane.
What is the points on this one?
66.5. So we both, well, I don't want to ruin it. Yeah. But we're both picking the over. Come on.
We're taking the over.
But I'm a little worried, Shane, like you said, if Tulane comes out here and is firing, I mean, they're going to have some things dealed up. If they jump out to a big lead, that's the worst case scenario. Ole Miss could be in a dogfight. Ole Miss, I think, has got to jump out to a big lead. And this game may come down to like, you know, a drop, a fumble, an interception, you know, some fluky play.
Yeah.
Because it may just be the last team with the ball wins it. And anytime you go on the road as a favorite, that's danger zone.
Yeah.
In the SEC particularly, I realize Tulane's not SEC. Kiffin's trying to build them up. He's pulling a Shane Beamer saying, we're playing a 9-game SEC now with Tulane. If this was at Auburn, at Mississippi State, and Ole Miss was 7.5-point favorite, I'd take the SEC team at home. But it's Tulane, brother.
Yeah.
In Jackson Dart, I'm singing his praise. We all know about Judkins.
Yeah.
One of the best running backs in the country. Jackson Dart in week 1 looked like one of the best quarterbacks in the country. If they can get that balance going, that 1-2, Trey Harris, the transfer, had 4 touchdowns last week.
Looked really good. I mean,
outstanding. I can't imagine Tulane's going to hold this team. I think Ole Miss will have enough stops to not only win the game, but cover it. So we almost have a near identical score. Ole Miss 42, Tulane 30. And this could be one of the more impressive wins to date in the SEC.
Yeah, it's a signature win. It's a top 25 win. You may not think about that coming into the season, but Ole Miss got their hands full. And you know, I think it comes down to with a little seniority on that. You talk about Jackson, but Ole Miss had a lot of players return last year, and if that locker room's dialed in, this won't be a ball game.
Yeah.
But if they're overlooking and thinking about teams that are coming down, they may get in trouble, and that's why I'm giving it pause right now. I want to see. This is where I'm going to figure out how good or bad Ole Miss is, and after that, I can still bet terribly wrong, but at least I have some better points about it.
Yeah. All right. How about this one? I'm so fired up for this one, Shane. We're going to find out if A&M's for real. Number 23, Texas A&M on the road at Miami. The Aggies favored by 3.5 points, over under 51, according to my bookie. 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central on ABC, nationally televised. 88 degrees. It's going to be muggy. It's going to be rainy. Maybe that favors the Canes. I don't know. Miami beat the other Miami 38-3 in the season opener. Who do you like in this big showdown of teams trying to prove that they're legit? Texas A&M or Miami?
And you know, ESPN Analytics has Miami winning this game.
What?
Yes, absolutely.
There's a reason I never cite those.
You know, I think I had a couple of nightmares about the Miami game last year, and that was like our first telltale sign that Texas A&M's in for a run for their money.
Yeah.
But But I think a lot of that got put to rest last week. And I know everybody on here, they're looking at New Mexico State and they're like, come on, Shane, that's a high school team, or some. Yeah, they're going to say that. But some of the plays that I saw in that game excited me, not because of who they were playing, but just the way they were playing. They were playing like they've been there before. They were playing like champions, Mike.
Yeah.
Connor lived like everybody was afraid that he wouldn't be efficient, that he would not, like, we've already seen his ceiling. And I felt like that ceiling got vaulted a little bit last week. And that's why I'm a little bit higher on the Aggies. They got the defense. They got some big uglies up front, and they have the ability to shut Miami down. Miami's got a good program. I'm not going to shit completely on them, but I don't think they're as good as people say they are. So, Aggies, somebody's getting a MyBookie lock. And I know what you're thinking. Shane, please, God, don't put it on him. He's 0-4. He can't get a game right. But I tell you what, man, I feel like this is it. I feel like this may be the worst week to put money against me, because I'm pretty confident that Texas A&M is not just going to beat Miami, that shitty AC, one of the additional, we've seen enough ACC love, We got Florida State mad at us, North Carolina mad. You know what, Miami, you and your 8 fans, you could be mad at me too, because they're going to have to, I think they're giving tickets away to get people to show up to this one. So give me Texas A&M 35, Miami 17.
The barn says, Shane, how could you?
Oh, we got this, baby. We got this.
Danny says, damn, I guess the Aggies aren't for real this year. Oh, yeah. I mean, you cursed the Aggie. I mean,
it's time, right?
If there's any Aggies, they need to throw us $100 to get Shane to remove his lock of the week.
I'm already in. I'm already locked in. I've already put my money on this one.
Okay.
So if you feel that way, go ahead, waste your money and bet the opposite. But I feel like this is the week. It's got to be the week, right?
Are you at all nervous? Because I'm a little nervous. As much as I'm hyping up A&M, they've got to prove it. And a lot of these teams, the coaches, they all say, we make a biggest improvement from week 1 to week 2. Well, some teams don't make that improvement because they ain't playing Cupcake U.
Yeah.
They're going on the road. They're playing Miami, which is loaded with high-priced 4- and 5-star talent and transfer talent. You know what I mean? So I'm a little nervous that they look so good that they'll be overconfident going into this one, because Miami's got a lot on the line too, but not like A&M, not like Jimbo.
Yeah, but no,
I'm saying Jimbo and all that, they got a lot more on the line.
But do you look at that roster and Miami's roster and say, you know what, Miami's got a better offensive line, or Miami's got better receivers?
No.
Or they've got a better quarterback. I can't think of one position that I'm saying, is that punter there? The tattoo punter? Maybe. I don't even know if he's that good. He just.
Right. But here's the thing, Shane. There's about 6 of those games last season.
I know.
Where A&M fell flat. You know what I mean? So they have, out for all my bravado, all my trash talk, and they've got to prove it. And I just don't see it, Shane. This is the week of the end of the talk. Miami 24, Texas A&M. I hate to say it. 35, winning the cover. Come on, man. You didn't think I was going to pick Miami, did you?
No. You can't be pumping up a Heisman quarterback and then all of a sudden back up. Again, I do have some concerns because of last year, but also I think that's part of the reason why the spread is so low. People are afraid to put money on Texas A&M until they see a game like Miami. And I'm just picking it 1 week early. So
yeah, Nima says Miami's got better cheerleaders.
Dude,
I have no idea either. But that was funny.
Wait, Texas A&M got the guys, right?
Yeah.
Drinking
Well, that makes sense.
Okay,
that was a good comment. All right, how about Kent State, Shane, at Arkansas? Big spread here. Arkansas, 37.5-point favorite. The over/under 58.5 total points. 4:00 Eastern, 3 Central, SEC Network. Another hot one. 91.
Jeez.
Something's going on down there in Arkansas.
Play that one at 11.
It's so hot out here. Yeah, have they moved the kickoff yet? But again, Kent State, not great.
Yeah.
Went back, rewatched Arkansas. Of course, they were playing Western Carolina, but it looked like an SEC versus high school team Who do you like in this matchup? Arkansas, Kent State.
Well, there are some questions, injuries. We don't know about Rocket just yet. And I'm not saying that that's going to change the outlook of this game, but I am a little discouraged because the rushing attack lacked last week, and I was hoping that we could have an opportunity to improve that this week, which I still think they do. I still think that the burden was on that offensive line than it was, for Rocket.
Yeah.
So come out here, establish the run. Don't get flashy. Just put these guys away. I think that's where we're at with Arkansas. You got BYU right around the corner, but that's a lot of points. That's a lot of points with question marks like that floating around. So it's tough to gamble on, but I'm going to gamble on it because Arkansas is going to beat the shit out of Kent State. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, it's one way to beat Nick Saban's alma mater there, you know. So give me Arkansas 52, Kent State 13. That was right. He did go to school there?
Yes, sir.
Or he coached there? Yeah.
He went to school there.
Did he get fired there?
No, the only place he was fired from was Ohio State.
Oh, I was saying.
That's why we all hate Ohio State. I love a lot of what you had to say there, Shane. Yeah. Like I was saying, Arkansas was locked in last week. They looked good. They were getting after it.
Defense looked
forcing turnovers, throwing it all over the yard, doing whatever the hell they wanted. KJ sharp as hell. I love when, because it's pretty rare when it happens, but I love when we hype a player up and a team up and they actually do it. Because, like I said, it is pretty rare.
We knew the whole time.
But Arkansas was what we were right about, Shane. So, I think this is, all the hype we've been hearing behind the scenes about Arkansas, it's legit.
Yeah.
I think Arkansas, I wish I would have picked them higher in the West now. I think they could be, now that LSU's lost, we'll find out about A&M and Alabama, but Arkansas, there's not much, if a drop-off at all. So Arkansas, elite, best quarterback, best running back combo, probably in the country.
Yeah.
Of course I like Arkansas. Come on.
Yeah.
But because it's hot, it was 91 degrees, Kent State, I think this is a game where we get the backups in, get some young players going. I like Kent State with the points because it's 37.5. Give me Arkansas 45, Kent State 10. So still a 35-point spread. But I think they backdoor it, maybe get some kind of a touchdown when the third string's in or something. That's just so many points.
If Rocket's not in there, what do you think you still think the game plan is to establish the run, right? With a game like Kent State, because again, it was sluggish last week, and it feels like more of the big uglies up front need this practice, and it should be a battle. We talked about this earlier in the week, Mike. I think you should look in the locker room at all those big bastards and just say, hey, man, we're going to put it on your shoulders. And either we're going to run behind you or we're going to throw over you. And do you want to be, because offensive line, they take that personally when they can't run the ball, especially when you got, a super NFL star behind you. It can't get those yards. So I don't know. I feel like that's going to be the theme in the first. So you're right. Maybe the points, the more I think about this, because, again, that running clock, first downs.
The new rules. The new rule.
There may be an opportunity
go under
here
with these high point spreads. Hell, I almost did it with Georgia, but because Georgia struggled, I went with, because I think they got to open a can of whoop ass. Arkansas could win by 50, but I think they'll pull off a little bit here.
I thought about that, but then I thought about the Auburn game last week. You know what I'm saying? And I kept saying this same thing was going to happen, and then all of a sudden they put 70 points on a team. So, I think they win big.
All right. How about your Missouri Tigers, Shane, hosting Middle Tennessee? Mizzou favored by 21 points at home.
Yeah.
Over under 58.5 points, according to my bookie. 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 Central on ESPN and SEC Network Plus. Another hot one, 94 degrees. At 7 o'clock, 94 degrees. That's wild. MTSU got hammered last week, 56-7 to Alabama. How about this stat, Shane? This came, Power Mizzou, right before we hopped on. I just thought this was great. Brady Cook, last 14 games as the starter. The first 7, 227 yards of offense, 8 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Not great.
Yeah.
But the last 7, 270 2 yards, so 50 yards more. 14 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Oh, let Brady cook. He might be in the zone right now. You know what?
Yeah, no, he may be. And again, we got to see MTSU last week. Didn't look good. We got to see Mizzou and look good at times. I'm kind of blown away by the temperatures too. So you said it's 94?
94 at kickoff.
How is that even? So Mizzou's the hottest field at the start of the season, and they're the first ones to get snow. So it's like that's a perfect place to work if you're a meteorologist. But that's not what we're here for, Mike. We're here for hard hitting analysis, and I'm telling you right now, MTSU is not going to have a shot, obviously, but I do think Mizzou keeps it simple. Just keeps moving the chains. They established that running game last week. I don't know. I'm surprised Schrader's not on your list. I would expect tons of yards from Mizzou in the rushing attack, and I don't think Brady needs to do too much. He just needs to be like he was last week, efficient.
Yeah.
Just keep moving the chains, keep the defense off the field, because when they come in, it's typically going to be a 3 and out. That's how good these dudes are. So I'm not gonna play with my food, as they say, Mike. Give me Mizzou 38, MTSU 7. Tell me you like that. Tell me you like that.
I hate it, Shane. I'll be honest with you. I hate it.
Why do you hate it? There's no quarterback controversy anymore. You know what I'm saying? It's like we know what Mizzou's offense is. We know what the defense is. What exactly are you wanting to see in this game?
That defense, once again, just be suffocating, locked down like they were in the opener of South Dakota. Like you said, the running game, now that we got that going, again, we gotta translate that to a little bit better competition.
You're right.
Still not elite competition. Let Brady cook. Keep that going. But with a new offensive coordinator, I mean, we really got to be hitting our stride with Kansas State coming in. And I don't want to look ahead, Shane. We don't want to be disrespectful. We don't want to be looking ahead to next week. But there's an early line out I saw, Shane. Kansas State at Mizzou. What do you think the point spread is for next week? It's already been, I don't know how real it is because
I don't know, Mizzou 18, 19.
1.
Really?
So, but Kansas.
But that's come down.
In the preseason, it was like 14. Kansas
They're
State.
like, what, 16th now or something like that? Yeah.
So, I mean, the bettors, the gamblers, they're coming around to
It blows
Mizzou.
my mind. They're not even getting AP votes.
Right.
Yet they're a 1-point underdog with Kansas State.
Right. So that's just something that I want to see all that come together. Shane, we gotta whoop this team.
Yeah.
We've seen them against Alabama, and who knows, Shane? Who knows? Maybe Alabama's just smoke and mirrors, and Middle Tennessee's awful.
Yeah.
Because Alabama just whooped them pretty good.
Yeah.
This is why I hate your score, Shane. It's about the same as mine, brother. Mizzou 38, MTSU 6. I got a little bit more respect for the defense. My bookie lock of the week. I'm undefeated on my locks of the week. Give me Mizzou and the 21 at home. I think they get that easily.
What's that big kicking bastard they got over there?
Mevis.
I mean, that may be the toughest bet. Just making. We both did 38. Does he get that field goal? You know, does he lock it back in?
Right.
Mevis got to get dialed in. I'm tired of the
not
missed
my
kicks.
words. Someone just paid us $2. Aaron Harmon. Appreciate you. Mizzou is trash. I'm only saying it because he gave us $2. Give us more money.
Has he got an Arkansas? Has he got an Arkansas logo?
Of course. Yeah. All right. How about Arizona, Shane? I'm very interested in this game. Arizona at Mississippi State.
Yeah.
Bulldogs favored by 9 at home.
Mm-hmm.
Over under 60.5 points. So potentially a high scoring game. 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central on the SEC Network. 95. There you go. 95 degrees. This is going to be a hot one down there.
Yeah.
Zona beat North Zona 38-3 last weekend. Who do you like in the ball game?
Yeah, I think I've called them Arizona State, Arizona. I've called all the Arizonas. So, Mississippi State disappointed a little bit last week. Sluggish, very slow start. Mm-hmm. And you can do that against those teams, but you can't do that against teams like Arizona. And I'm not saying Arizona is a juggernaut or anything like that. But if you find yourself down a couple of scores, do you have the confidence that Mississippi State's just going to, tear it up in the second half?
Right.
They had some good adjustments during the game last week. I liked seeing Mike. I want to see more of him get involved. But more importantly, brother, I want to see Will Rogers cook. When we went into this game, I was expecting the high-flying offense that we were promised. We shotgun 95% of the time, airing it out. I don't want to see screens every play and
right.
Put all the pressure on your running back to make this game go away. They have the pieces to just tear this team up, and that's kind of what I want to see, but I'm not sold that we do, brother. I've got to see, and nothing against Arnett, and I know he's got a lot of pressure on him, first time coaching the SEC, especially as a head coach, and there was some things I'm sure he learned during that first game. So how does he adjust? How does this team adjust? I'm scared about this game, Mike. And I'm not saying that I think Mississippi State loses, but I think there's a real possibility that we're in the fourth quarter wondering, like, can they lose? So I'm not a fan of the spread. Was it 9 points?
Yes, sir.
I got Mississippi State winning 35, Arizona 28.
Oh, buddy.
So I got them winning, but not covering that
Close
spread.
one. This feels like a game where Davis-Wade Stadium is the deciding factor. Like, I know Mississippi State whooped them last year.
Yeah.
I think it was either the first or second year under that coach. He's still building it up. If this game was at Arizona, I'd probably pick Arizona.
Yeah.
But I think the fans, the cowbells, and we've already heard, apparently one of our commenters told us someone at Arizona said, it's no louder than Oregon State, I bet. I was like, that's where you screw up, when you start dissing the Mississippi State fans. So, now Arizona, Shane, only allowed 3 points last week. That was against a crappy team.
Yeah.
But maybe they got a little bit of a defense going up against Mississippi State. That was a little off last week. Can they run the ball as well as they did last week? That'll be key to the game. And if not, then we got to get Will Rogers going.
Right.
We've only seen Will one time in this offense, and it was not great, but not terrible. So maybe it was just first game jitters, what have you. But this, I'm right there with you. I'm not feeling great about this game. Night game, Davis-Wade, give me Mississippi State, but give me Arizona and the points, just like you. I'm going Mississippi State 33, Arizona 30. So I think this one goes down right to the wire.
Yeah. Hey, let me ask you, who has more rushing yards here, Marks or Wright, at the end of the game?
I think it's got to be Marks.
Yeah. I think he'll have more carries. I believe, because you and I both think this is going to be a close game, and that's when you start seeing a little bit more of your X factor in Mike Wright and that speed. It's just tough to keep that speed off the field.
Yeah. But I also think that, I don't want to call him like a gadget player or wildcat or whatever the hell you want to call it, but you just can't rely on that week in and week out. I really don't think, and have success. Now, you can do it every once in a while, but it's funny because there's a lot of Mississippi State fans, Shane, that are saying, we got to, he really sparked them last week, and they're saying, we got to make a switch. It's time to move on from Will Rogers.
Yeah.
And I get it. You saw one game, but Vanderbilt benched him.
Yeah.
And yes, I realize he led Vanderbilt to some wins last year, but that was only because Swan got hurt. If Swan didn't get hurt, he wouldn't have been in the game.
Yeah.
And they look at the games he won. They don't look at the Northern Illinois game where they were going to lose if Mike Wright was their quarterback. And they had to put in a true freshman that had never played to win them a ball game. And again, I'm not trying to diss Mike Wright, but we're seeing the highlights of him. We're seeing what he does well at.
Yeah.
Can he run an offense, beat SEC defenses consistently? I think the answer, we have the answer.
And two, more weeks played, the more films out there,
Right.
So you're starting to identify them in different. I still do think there's a hidden aspect there, because they try to keep it secret in the off season.
Yep.
So, the more film study we get out there, the tougher it's going to be for Mike to be productive.
Yeah. All right, Shane, how about this one? Another really good one potentially. Auburn at Cal. Auburn favored by 6.5 points on the road. Over under 54.5 points according to my bookie. 10:30 Eastern. My goodness, 9:30 Central on ESPN. Power rankings won't go live till about 2 o'clock in the morning, Shane. Weather 70 degrees. Cal looked good. I went back and watched the highlights of their North Texas game. They whooped them 58-21. Does Hugh Freeze go 2-0 to start his Auburn debut?
This is a tough one. It's one thing to be playing on the plains, but it's another to take a plane to California. You know what I'm saying? We've already seen one SEC team going out west, and it didn't end good. So
right.
I'm not saying that I'm concerned. Yeah, I am. Yeah, I don't know why I keep sugarcoating. I am concerned. I'm not sold that week one was a preview for what we're going to see the rest of the season. Cal is going to be a tough test. Taking a young team like that with a lot of new faces, out west, they're gonna experience when life's good, things go good, but they've not had the troubles yet. Thorne didn't play particularly great last week. You had to have touchdown Robbie come in here and save you there in the red zone.
Yeah,
which again, that may be what they do moving forward, kind of like a poor man's Florida Gators, from a few years back. So that could work. But again, it shouldn't be set up on gimmicks and, mirrors. You mentioned earlier, it needs to be establishing the run. That's what he loves to do. Hugh loves to do. And I didn't get the warm fuzzies inside that we've established any rushing attack with Auburn yet. And a team like Cal, you're going to need that. You can't just say, okay, Thorne, get it back there and sling it 50 times. You do that, you're going to lose. So I am worried. But I still think Hugh Freeze and this team's got a lot of talent, and as the year progresses, I think this team is going to get exponentially better. Week 2, though, I'm a little afraid to put money on them. I still got them winning this game, but I don't have them covering the spread. So give me Auburn 31, California 28. I think it's a close game.
And who even knows? I mean, it's going to be so late. A lot of people won't even know who wins the damn game till Sunday. You know what I mean? They're going to wake up. What happened? What happened to Auburn?
Literally 11 to 11 watching football Saturday. You know what I'm saying?
Right. We got a $5 question here from Cardoc.
Yeah.
Week 1 Auburn versus Week 1 Bama. Who you guys got? He says he loves the show, listens daily at work. I mean, I think I would have took Bama.
Yeah.
Where's that game played? That could be a deciding factor. But I mean, Auburn was pretty damn impressive. But I got Alabama number 1 in the power rankings for a reason.
That's the thing. I think we'll have a better Iron Bowl at the end of the season. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I think right now is when you want to play Auburn, because again, if they're still figuring it out, not just the players, but the coaching staff and everything.
Yeah.
There's a lot of factors down there. At the end of this year, game 12, you're going to get the best damn Auburn football, and as long as everybody's healthy, I think that's the one that could potentially knock off a team like Alabama. So, but there's going to be some bumps and bruises along the way.
Nima says, Cousin Shane going to shotgun a monster to stay up for that one.
Yes. Man, I've ruined so many good games by passing out. That's the downside of drinking all day. It's like, if it's slow, I'll be out. So
yeah. Oh, I mean, this is going to be a true test.
I'll have to VCR that one,
This is going to be a true test. I really do think. Yeah. I don't think this is going to be. I think people are disrespecting Cal just because it's Cal.
Yeah.
But they got a hell of a running attack, Shane. I threw up the stats here a moment ago on Cal. They have the number 5. It's just 1 week, but the number 5 rushing attack in the country, 347 yards, and Auburn, Shane, the number 86 rushing defense right now.
Jeez,
they couldn't stop UMass too well on the ground. So Cal's going to give them issues. Cal's going to score some points in this one. And you kind of stole my thunder because I mean that's exactly what I was going to say, man. When it gets tight, who steps up makes these plays? Is it red zone. They're calling him red zone Robbie, apparently. Not touchdown, but whatever. Is it Robbie? Is it Thorne? These new receivers. We still don't even know if Jarquez Hunter's going to play.
Yeah.
I think you're going to need him in this one. I'd let him play.
Yeah.
He's done his time. He sat out. I mean,
Right.
I don't know. But this is a game, Shane, where they're going to look back and say, God,
I forgive him.
I wish we had him. You know,
Yeah.
this is going to be tight. And yes, I think we always make too much of like the elevation, the travel, the West Coast, all this, but it's real.
Yeah.
People that do it know it's real. This is going to be a tough one, Shane. But give me Auburn 28, Cal 27, Honda Morristown. I don't feel great about this one.
Yeah.
I think Cal is a serious contender to win this game.
But I'll tell you, as an Auburn fan, this is a good time to have a game like this. You need a test.
Yeah.
Because next week you can come back. You got Sanford. You got time to, work on a few things because they got a gauntlet after. Probably the toughest stretch in the SEC. They got A&M, Georgia, LSU, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, 5 weeks in a row. There's no more warming up. So a little test early in the season, I think, is exactly what Auburn needs. And if they can come out with a win here, that would be huge for Hugh.
And it will almost guarantee, you're going into, because you got Sanford going into SEC play undefeated with a ton of momentum.
Absolutely.
I think
people talking about you? Absolutely. That helps on the trail, man, recruiting trail.
All right, Shane, the big one. Number 11, Texas, at number 3, Alabama. Crimson Tide favored by 7 at home. Over under 54.5 points, according to my bookie. 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 Central on ESPN. 92. Man, there's all kinds of crazy weather out here, Shane. The decaying dynasty, the building dynasty, hype galore for this game. Alabama, are they legit? Texas, are they ready for the SEC? Sark, Nick Saban.
Yeah.
All these storylines, all these 5 stars, all the talent in the world, and 2 of the great fan bases in the country. Who wins a game? Alabama hosting Texas.
Everyone is making their memes now. They're getting their videos ready because if Alabama struggles at all in this game, they're going to hear it from every fan base outside of Tuscaloosa. Yeah, it's a tough pill to swallow when you've been on the mountain for so long. No one wants to see you succeed. They cannot wait for you to fail. They remember the game from last year, and they're saying, oh, yeah, they look great against MTSU. Yeah. Or if you're asking a Bammer, they're like the revenge tour and all this good shit, and maybe Nick Saban's last run, so he can have the title one last time. Whatever. It's a fun narrative, but it all goes away if you lose to the Longhorns, because roster to roster, these guys aren't close yet. Now, I think Texas is getting there, but when you turn on Texas highlights, the only highlight I've saw this week of Texas is one taking a football to the side of the head. Did you see that one? That's what people are spreading around the SEC right now, that it's just the good news bears coming in here and that Alabama is going to steamroll them. But I think that's exactly where you want them if you're a Longhorn fan, because this is exactly where we were this time last year. Going down there, I never thought this would be a game.
Yeah,
I remember it was early. It was hot as hell. We're going to go down there. SEC, big bad SEC, going to go down there and beat the shit out of Texas. And then all of a sudden we're like, oh, man, Texas is going to win this one. And then we get an injured quarterback. And then a lot of miracles. We heard Anwar. He went through all of the little ifs and buts that could have happened in that game. And still Alabama walked away with the win. Does it come down to that again, Mike? And I still think that there's a possibility that we may come down to a final drive with these two programs. So, it really all depends on one guy, Nick Saban. I know we've crowned him as the best coach of all time, but it's going to come down to his game plan here. It's going to come down to making the right decisions, knowing when this quarterback situation. I know that we've kind of said, all right, he's the guy. All right, we crowned him. He's ready to go. But you got to be able to know if he is 2-3 quarters into this thing. You know, if Texas is winning or he keeps making mistakes, you've got other guys, and you've got to just fill the quarterback room. So
right.
I do think that it comes down to coaching here, and I think Texas is going to come in the SEC and make a lot of noise. It's just not going to be this year, Mike. I think I've got Alabama. I got to win pretty good. I don't know why I said all that shit. You know, I'm looking at my score and I'm like, well, how do I back this one up? I think I think Texas scores the last score to make it 35-24. I am in the camp of revenge tour. You know, I told you this. I don't know how many times I've told you this, that I do think that this may not be Nick Saban's last run, but I do think that this is getting toward the end of last opportunities to win that final championship. He's got a good team. They're a little banged up on defense, but not enough to scare me. And it's a true testament to the coaching power of Alabama if they can win this one big.
Real quick, Shane, we got a $5 one from Fall Times. We got to cover it. If Vanderbilt played Clemson right now, who would win?
Vanderbilt. Are we giving me points? Because then I may go back to Clemson. But
yeah, they look like terrible. Give me Vanderbilt.
All them bandwagon fans. You know, that's the thing. It's not so much the Clemson fans. It's those Clemson fans that became fans after they won national championship. Right. You know, those are the
Never
ones
in my life have I met a Clemson fan until they started winning.
No, absolutely. And you talk to them, and I'm like, "Where are you from?" And they're like, you know, Michigan. I'm like, you're a Clemson fan? Well, yeah, until Michigan wins a natty, I guess, you know.
All right, brother. So Alabama, Texas, man. No respect for Sark and them Longhorns, huh? You know, this does feel, anytime Alabama nearly gets upset, people usually lock in the next year. They're like, almost got them.
Yeah.
Almost got them. Well, usually that's when Alabama whoops a can of whoop ass on them the next year, you know? So I think that is certainly in play. Both these teams, you know, it depends on who I talk to, Shane. Alabama's got something to prove. Texas got something to prove. Rarely do we have two teams like this that both got something to prove.
Yeah.
And there's a lot on the line. I mean, I've said it, and I stand by it, Shane. If Texas wins this game, they should be number one in the country.
Yeah.
I mean, why the hell wouldn't they be? A win over Alabama in Tuscaloosa, who's number 3 right now. I mean, at worst, you got to put them 2 then, right?
Yeah.
We're supposed to be ranking on this year and not what happened last year. And what last year was a close game, this year, it ain't going to be one, brother. I'm right there with you. Come on. I mean, Texas got a long way to go. So much hype. I'm tired of the hype. I want to see it. And one of the teams I was just the most disappointed with was Texas, week 1.
Yeah.
That was Rice. They were probably, you know, not unleashing their full offense and all that. They'll be more in line for this matchup. But it's easy. It's easy on paper to go into Tuscaloosa and say, we're going to beat Nick's old Papaw. We're going to do it.
Yeah.
But they ain't lived it. They ain't lived it like Arkansas fans, like Tennessee fans, Georgia. I mean, they beat the hell out of everybody down there.
Yeah.
They're going to beat the hell out of Texas, Shane. I really do think. Give me Alabama 28, Texas 17. And I'm going to make a vow right now to all these great Longhorn fans. Because, you know, when we pick against their team, it's, oh, you hate us, you disrespect. We're a podcast of our word, Shane. And if I'm wrong and Texas wins this game outright, which could happen. I don't think it will, but it could happen. If Texas wins outright, I'm manscaping for our next show, Sunday show. I'm going to have a tee. I'm going to shave the entire beard, but keep the tee for one show to pay up for my bet that Texas will not compete in this. I mean, I think it's going to 2-score game.
Yeah. You know, and I'm not bashing Texas. But I do think that there are national championship teams at some point, but it won't happen until they're in the SEC.
Right.
You know, and And you could say the same thing about Oklahoma is another one. These two programs, I feel like, are hitting their ceiling over there in that conference. When they come over here and they bring that money, buddy, and they get some momentum, they're already getting some of the classes now. But once they put, I was like Days of Thunder, you know,
Yeah.
when they get them special tires on, that SEC tires, you know,
Yeah.
that's when magical things are going to happen for the University of Texas and Oklahoma. But until then, you're there. You're going to have a lot of good teams, but you're still missing something. And when you're playing other SEC opponents week in, week out, that builds you up, man. That makes you a better program. And I think they'll hit the ground running when they get here. It's just they're not there yet, in my opinion. Alabama is there. You know, Alabama's been recruiting the same way since Nick's been down there. It's just like Georgia, just like, you know, sometimes LSU. It's just they're powerhouses. And there's when you got a 5-star go down and you replace it with another 5-star, Texas is close. You know, they're getting there. Sark can get him there, I think. I think he's going to be a good coach for him, and he's used to that environment, so he knows what to expect when he gets down there. But coming down here with an upset, I just don't see it happen. And one of the other things is part of a revenge tour. The reason I call it a revenge tour, which has been, I hate that they even call it that anymore, but I do think there's a couple of games that Nick's got penciled. You know what I'm saying? You almost got beat by Texas. You're penciled in. You're dialed in. Saban knows. Tennessee, LSU, maybe Ole Miss, Texas A&M was close. There's a lot of games that I think you could put up the film from last year and you could say, here's what happens when we thought we were going to go in and beat the shit out of the other opponent. We either lost or we almost did. Let's don't let that happen. So true testament will be this weekend, but it's going to be a hell of a matchup for sure.
Well, one of the guys I was most impressed with week 1, too, was Jalen Milroe.
Yeah.
Texas native. I believe he was committed to Texas at one point.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you remember this, Shane, but it was the Texas governor came out and said, well, we know their quarterback. I ain't scared. You know, he's got a lot on the line this week.
Yeah.
And this is why I went Prize Picks over with Jalen Milroe, because Texas front seven is pretty good. One of the best, probably the best in the Big 12. I think they're going to man up pretty well with Alabama's front. So it's going to be on Jalen Milroe to win this game. He had a hell of a debut. Maybe it was more MTSU than anything, but I don't think so. I'm buying Jalen Milroe stock while I can get it.
Yeah.
I think he has a big game. I think he's the difference, key difference, and maybe he starts to get that Heisman buzz. If he has a big game here, he'll be in the conversation.
Yeah. As long as he's not the difference the opposite way. You know what I'm saying? That's my only concern. That's kind of why I teed it up, because you've got some other quarterbacks in that room that provide different things, you know, and sometimes you may need a different spark. And if they're down, not saying they are, but if they are down a couple of scores, I would hope that they give somebody an opportunity to come in there and mix. That's the only thing, is putting all my eggs in one basket after one game with MTSU.
Right.
I'm still a little bit hesitant on that one. But I just like everything else around him too, you know, so Alabama could just beat them with the running game.
How about this? We got one more $5 comment, Shane, from Carl. Bama won't lose until the Tennessee game. I know you like that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We got to get past Austin Peay first, you know?
Yep. All right, brother. So anything else before we hop off the line? I can't wait to watch these games.
I'm pumped up. Just don't forget to set your alarms a little bit earlier, because Vanderbilt's going to kick off at 11. So.
Dude, I don't know about you, but on game days, I wake up about 7. I get too excited.
It's almost like Christmas when you're a kid, you know?
Yeah.
You run down, you're looking at your presents, and Lee Corso's there, you know?
Yep.
It's just, I love it. I love college football. It was such a long off season, and now we're getting in the throes of things, and we're starting to get a little bit of separation, or more, I would say more about understanding of these programs and where they're at. And that's why I like these early week schedules, or early in the week season, because you kind of figure out who your ball club is or not.
Yeah. Well, I can't thank you enough, buddy, for coming
Yeah.
over. I can't thank all the cousins out there for tuning in, especially the people on the live show and the super chats and everything. We really appreciate each and every one of you. It's because of you guys that the show is going strong and why we even have this show. So appreciate each and every one of you for joining us, and we'll catch you on the next one. Enjoy the games this weekend.
All right, see you guys. Go Vols. I better not see any down horns, Bama fans.